Thank you for putting up with me and setting up this connection. It's the first online hackathon I've ever done. So I don't know, like I kind of have FOMO that I'm not in the room there right now. I'm sure all of you've been up all night and not blue-eyed. But it's kind of hard to do when you're alone in your room on the other side of the world. So I took an early night last night. But yeah, it's the idea I came up with yesterday was GeoChain. So it's really about taking GPS data and storing that on Radix DLT and using that data stream to constrain and provide data for like smart contract execution. So the user journey kind of looked like this, kind of vision 2 contracts. The first one would be like minting an NFT for a real-world asset. And then the second one would be kind of like an escrow that takes money and basically lock the funds until like your shipment of goods or your real-world asset is like past certain kind of success conditions, like probably moved in the context of supply chains, like maybe moved past a certain point in the supply chain at which you can kind of withdraw the money. So the kind of UI would look like this. I'm based in Montreal, so these are like locations in Montreal. I don't know if you've ever been, but you're going to the Atwoods market, to like Jean-Talon market, and you're carting your goods, and as soon as you get for the final destination, you can release the funds from the escrow. Unfortunately, ETH, but should be XLT. So yeah, the POC architecture is kind of like full stack. So unfortunately, I was working with AirTag, the humble AirTag as an example for a real-world asset. You kind of had to ingest that from disk. No other real way to do it. But then the idea was to take that information and then broadcast it to a contract and then pull it on the front end. So you'd log into the app and then just kind of pull the information from your GPS tracker. That was the application on GitHub. And in terms of the smart contracts, I only got a chance to develop the first part, which would be minting the NFT and updating the GPS data. So I didn't get a chance to actually building the escrow. It kind of worked like this. It was just a regular NFT contract with a create GPS function that would take some information, in this case like latitude, longitude information, and mutate an array of GPS data inside of that particular NFT. So it kind of, I guess I can kind of give a demo at this point. I don't know if I can, if you guys can still see my screen. Hello? Okay. So this is an example of like the first smart contract. It's a minted NFT on testnet, which is an AirTag with a description and a bunch of GPS events inside. And in terms of like the actual execution on the transaction manifest, you can kind of create one. Let's build it. Let's get like AirTag 3, give it a 0, and execute that. Just bear with me here. Let's get open my Radix wallet. Slide to sign. I love the UI on this wallet. Okay, so that was submitted. So that will create a new non-fungible. So we have 3 of these now, number 3. Right now, no GPS events inside it. So to create some GPS events, we can call the other method, which would be the add GPS event. So this one goes to this one here, we'll just add some data. Cool. So now we refresh. We should see we have our first element of GPS embeds in there with some like spoofed data. Now, it was a hackathon. I kind of ran out of time. For the front end, this is about as far as I got. So it's kind of like, I guess you can call it conceptual art. You have to kind of use your imagination. But the idea would be log in with your wallet, and then you pull the NFT data and then fetch the data from the array and basically render it on like Mapbox or something similar. The actual architecture itself was like just one smart contract, AirTag NFT, and inside it you have one resource manager. You have a mint function to basically create the AirTag, name and inscription, and creating GPS events. We just have a nice little structure with a timestamp for each one. And yeah, you would just basically mutate that array. So you take the AirTag by ID and push in a new GPS event and then update the non-fungible. So that'd be like the insertion contract. In terms of the backend, didn't really get around to doing it, but it just would have been some kind of streaming script that would take the data from local disk and then use probably the wallet SDK to automate signing of the creation of these GPS event method calls. So that is pretty much it. It's my first time coding in Rust, so and Radix, and it was really just a deep dive into the ecosystem. But I am a convert. I will never touch Solidity again. That's the one thing I learned yesterday. So hats off to everyone at Radix. Like, you guys have built such an amazing platform, honestly. Yeah, I can't even code in Rust, and somehow managed to do something. So.